July 15th, 2024 shall come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Your motion to approve the agenda, please. Moved by Mark,
Second.
seconded by Creighton, that we approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. To the consent agenda. We have approval of the city council meetings of July 1st, 2024, which you have a copy. We need approval of the bills and claims, of which you also have a copy. We have a street closing request, 173 Craft Distillery, 306 First Avenue North, September 14th, from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. for a pickleball tournament event. D, Resolution 2452. This is a resolution establishing an employee forfeited vacation buyback policy. E, Resolution 2453. A resolution authorizing adoption of amended and restated policies and procedures regarding municipal securities disclosure. We have Resolution 2454, a resolution adopting Saragordo County Hazard Mitigation Plan update. We have G, approval of pay estimate number 2 to Heartland Asphalt in the amount of $30,399.01 for the 2024 Pickleball Court Improvement Project. We have the following licenses and permits. Liquor license, Class B, retail alcohol license, Louis Custom Meats. Class C, retail alcohol license, Half Moon Inn. Those are both renewals. We have an excavator's license with Marquardt Services, renewal, and we have street closing request, Class Car Cruise and Car Show, August 2nd and 3rd, and we have Bash at the Lake, August 9th and 10th. Keep in mind here, Council, we have 1, 2, 3 resolutions that we will take a vote on, but prior to that, I would like to have Brad Peterson, if you will, come to the podium, and could you give us a description of the part of the street that you would like closed on this particular date, which is September 14th.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, Scott, Jennifer, everybody, Mike. I'm back again. We want to have more fun. There's not enough fun with, with Stacy's program going on with the chamber. Yeah, it's a family event. No one's excluded. We're looking for support from Jeff Burtz, who I believe is the president of the Clear Lake chapter of pickleball, and he's agreed to it. He thinks it's great. We're going to use their knowledge about the game and some of their equipment, nets and things. We think that it could be an annual event. And I think it's a good, healthy event. Obviously, it will help support our business as well, but I think it could be something that could be real big for the community and a big draw. Pickleball, as you know, is giant. I know how the council has supported the club, and so I know you believe in that. Yes, so it would be the blockage itself. The street would be blocked from, is it 3rd, the corner of the stop sign there, to the alley between us and the funeral home. There's been discussion with myself and the funeral home folks, and if there would be, something that would come up with them with a visitation or whatever, we would stop the play accordingly. So one of the owners will be there, probably me, and when it's time for the procession to leave, we would stop play, pick the nets up. They're portable. We can do that in a matter of minutes, and they could leave. So I don't think there's going to be any issues there. People can turn into the bank. They can turn between our two buildings, the distillery and the funeral home, if they so wish. And proceeds, registration proceeds, anything that is profit will, well, right now, we're thinking about giving that back to the club, the Clear Lake Pickleball Club. But we're open to suggestions on that as well, so.
Okay, that's pretty much what, I personally wanted clarified as to what part of the First Avenue North that you are closing off, and you said between North Third and the alley. Between North Third and North Fourth. And yet people can still get into the bank to
Correct,
drive through
yeah.
there or go down the alley either way.
Yeah.
But, okay. All right, thanks, Brad, appreciate that. All right, now, as I said earlier, council, we have 3 resolutions here, 2452, 2453, and 2454. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the entire consent agenda, including those resolutions, and then we'll come back and have a roll call on the entire consent agenda. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Creighton, that we approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion on any of these items? Roll call. Mark.
Yes.
Creighton.
Yes.
Beth Ann.
Yes.
And Bennett.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0, and the consent agenda is approved and the resolutions are duly adopted. Thank you. Now is the time and place for any citizen in the audience who wishes to address the council on any issue or concern. Please approach the podium, state your name first and last, and give your address so that the clerk can properly enter the minutes. This is not a discussion time nor a question and answer period time, but it is an opportunity for you to address the council. Not appearing, entertaining, we don't need that. We'll go to unfinished business, of which we have none. We'll jump to 6A, new business, ambulance service fee schedule adjustment review. Jacob Widman, Director of Finance Administrative Services. Welcome, Jacob.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Last meeting, I brought up in my section that we were looking at updating the ambulance fee schedules, which tonight we'll do the first reading on that. So just as a little bit of background, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, as well as Wellmark, Blue Cross Blue Shield, they kind of set maximum allowable rates, and those adjust from time to time. And so it's been 2019 was the last time that we did an update to our fees, and those maximum allowable amounts have adjusted some. So we're looking to get our rates back up to those maximum allowable amounts so that we can get the maximum billed amount. Our costs have gone up quite a bit over the last 5 years, and so we just want to make sure that we're in line with that. Typically, Wellmark and insurance companies have a higher maximum allowed amount than the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid. So we do, I think it mentioned in our cover memo there, the majority of our ambulance service calls are Medicare, Medicaid. It runs between 60 and 70% of our calls are that. So we do get a lower billing rate for that, but obviously we want to serve everybody. And so we're making sure that we have our rates up to date here. If you look at the ordinance itself, it's towards the end of your packet in the white pages there. So section 1 has the user fees. So that's basically if you have to take an ambulance ride, kind of the different rates based on the type of treatment that you need during that transport. And then under section 2, that's kind of a new section we added this time around to the ordinance based on PCC, who's our third-party billing service. They recommended adding that in so that we can charge for some supplies and stuff if we so choose. So that's kind of what I have. It will be, we're looking for a September 1st effective date so that we can do a reading at this meeting, and then there'll be 2 more readings before we can adopt it. Any questions on any of that?
So you did say this is It's been 5 years since we've
Correct.
adjusted this.
Yep. And overall, we're looking at conservatively $20,000 maybe increase in revenue. That's around a 5% increase in ambulance revenues. So not significant.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments? Council Jacob? Thank you, Jacob.
Yep.
Therefore, I entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 883, an ordinance amending ordinance 844 regarding ambulance/medical user fees within the area served by the Clear Lake Fire Department Ambulance Service by revising ambulance service user fee schedule and providing for an effective date for the increase. This is the first of 3 readings. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Mark, that we approve ordinance number 883 on the first reading. Is there any discussion? Creighton,
Yes.
Beth Ann,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
and Mark.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-3, and ordinance 883 is approved on the first reading. 6B, purchase a replacement pickup truck for the Public Works Department from Harrison Ford in Clear Lake in the amount of $48,222. Review of bids and recommendation. Jeremy Kornberg, Public Works Director. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. As you mentioned, we're requesting approval to purchase a new 2024 3/4 ton pickup to replace the 2000 2500 Mow truck. It was a 2-wheel drive that was bought used a handful of years ago. So we're requesting to purchase a Ford Super Duty F-250 4-wheel drive. It'll have the standard warranties, powertrain, et cetera. We had kind of kicked around used vehicles, but with the used market versus what we can buy new, me and Jacob determined it made more sense to go with a new truck. We were looking at $20,000 to $23,000 for a 10-year-old truck with 100 to 150,000 miles on it. As you can see here, we took bids from 2 local vendors that do have build slots here in August, so we're looking hopefully in a September, October delivery. New truck bid was $48,222. So we kind of thought that up charge and cost for a new truck seemed to make sense. And then going this route with the truck makes it easily transferable to our Public Works Department if for some reason something comes up and we can find a Mow truck cheaper at some point in time. That would be delivered pretty much stock. We would then upfit it with a back rack, toolbox, strobes, bed liner, stuff like that on our own once it's in-house. So the bid from Harrison came in at $48,222. We also received a bid from Pritchard Commercial. Theirs was $49,775, exact same truck. So our recommendation would be to go with the Harrison Ford bid. And then we're also looking, like I said, about $1,800 to $2,000 to upfit it once it's in our shop. So total cost for it's going to be about $50,000. So any questions for me on that?
So this is a 2-wheel going to a 4-wheel?
It will be a 4-wheel drive, yes. Yep. And going up, using that 250 would allow us to haul the Mow trailer, skid loader trailer, everything else. Like I said, it fits into our fleet a lot better, a lot more use, so.
Any further comments, questions, Council, Jeremy? Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Therefore, I entertain a motion to approve and authorize the purchase of a replacement pickup truck for Public Works Department from Harrison Ford, Clear Lake, in the amount of $48,222. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Creighton, seconded by Mark, that we approve the purchase of the replacement pickup truck from Harrison Ford. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. 6C, Music Enrichment Immersive Center Building Project Update Review of Pay Estimate number 3, Change Order number 1. Matt Steddingson, the City Engineer. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Hope everybody had a good day today. Here we go with Pay Up 3 here. So please note the original amount, contract amount to Dean Snyder Construction for $5,004,416.70. Completed contract to date of $700,337, $261.44, less that retainage amount of $36,863.09. Brings us to that total completed, less that retainage amount of $700,398.35. So that current request for payment would be $470,606.70, less the retained amount of $24,768.77, brings us to that current total due of $470,606.70. And if you look at the change order number 1, that was in the amount of $37,457.91. That was mainly covering some changes in electrical, ceiling, door hardware, and then a big bulk of that was for some unsuitable soils that we ran into, that some of that's just unforeseen conditions, and we had to get a lot of extra rock to get that subbase able to hold the bearing capacity that we needed. So that was what that extra rock and just different subbase material was that got hauled in there. So you guys have any questions for me?
Questions for Matt, Council?
I was just going to mention on that change order, so as Matt mentioned, the rock, you'll notice that in there at $21,000, about $600, but we did, the contractor made some what we call value engineering adjustments to the door hardware that basically more than offset the cost of that rock work. And so then you kind of continue on down. The security item there at the bottom is $25,700. That's included in this change order, but it's really not a change order. It just was not an item that was in the bid documents for the base bid. So it was factored into our budget. So when you look at this as the $37,500-ish, that's not a full change order in that amount. So that security piece is already factored into the overall FF&E budget. So the furniture, fixture, and equipment budget, which was about $250,000, that's included in that item. It just wasn't included in our base bid for the project.
Any comments, questions?
I was just going to say, Matt, it's certainly making a lot of progress on that down there. It looks terrific, you know.
So they're starting to get the steel skeleton structure up, so it's really starting to take shape.
Yeah, the area is going to look a lot different a year from now,
For
frankly.
sure.
A lot of parts of Clear Lake will as well with everything we got going on. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anything further? Therefore, I entertain a motion to approve pay estimate number 3 in the amount of $470,606.70 and change order number 1 in the amount of $37,457.91 to Dean Snyder Construction. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
By Mark, seconded by Beth Ann, that we approve pay estimate number 3 and change order number 1. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. It's 6D Ludwig Wanberg Municipal Band Shell and Lakeview Room Improvement Project. Project update review of pay estimate number 2 and 3. Matthew again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. So please note that original contract sum, $754,000 to Dean Snyder Construction. Total contract to date completed was $97,501. Take out our standard 5% retainage, that $4,875.05. Brings us to that total completed less retainage amount of $92,625.95. Subtract out our previous payments of $33,250. Brings us to the current billing of $62,501 minus a current retainage of $3,125.05 brings us to the net amount due this period of $59,375.95. So that's for pay estimate number 2. Flip over to the next sheets, get pay estimate number 3 here. That original contract sum, $754,000. To date completed, $169,583. less the 5% retainage of $8,479.15, less the previous requested of that $92,625.95, brings us to the current billing of $72,082, minus that $3,604.10 for that current retainage, brings us to the current amount due of $68,477.90 on that, which brings our remaining total to bill yet of $592,896.15. So a quick project update on that one. Dean Snyder Construction has got the inside pretty well wrapped up. The new cabinets have been installed and in place. Countertops are supposed to be in on the 25th of this month. And they currently moved outside and are working on wrapping the new piers outside with the cedar, and then that'll get repainted, and they're also gonna start piecing in the fascia and soffit and get that painted as we go along. The superintendent did tell me that the bathroom partitions are gonna be here in about 2 weeks, which we didn't know if they were gonna be early or not, so we have to probably sit down and have a conversation with the nice ladies over at the chamber to see if we can work those public restrooms in possibly before we were originally going to go after Labor Day and tear into those, but maybe before, so we'll see. But yeah, so that's the update on that. Do you guys have any questions for me at all?
Yeah, those piers, is that what you're calling those that slant down? There's been rotten wood in there for years. And
Yeah, the actual skeleton structure inside
Right.
was actually good. The framers who did them originally, they use good product while they were doing that, and treated lumber and everything, so they've held up pretty good. So really it's just the exterior, and we were pretty fortunate to not have to get, into the overall structural of it, so.
As you observe from outside, if back left, it looks like there's some sort of a patch or plywood over in the ceiling there. It's been there for quite a while.
Yeah, that one will get redone as we continue through the construction on the actual band shell portion.
So it's just an imperfection in that ceiling, that's all? Oh,
Yeah.
all right, I thought it was some accident.
No,
In the wheelchair, the chairlift is?
the chairlift is still on order, so
What is that?
there's,
Yeah.
they haven't even given an ETA on that one. But that's the one thing inside that's gonna be a wait.
And that will be installed inside.
Correct.
It looks very nice inside.
Yeah, it'll be a nice project once it's finished.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks. Any other comments, questions for Matt, council? Entertain a motion to approve payers to number 2 and number 3, number 2, $59,375.95, and 3, $68,477.90. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Mark, that we approve payers to number 2 and number 3. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries 4-0. Chief Police Report. Welcome, Chief Colby.
Evening, Mayor and Council. A couple of things for you to bring you up to date on events over the last couple weeks at the PD. July 4th went off without a hitch for us. We were busy, but as to be expected, I think the men and women handled it quite well, and talked to Stacy and some of the people around the area. I think our minor changes on South Shore Drive for the traffic stuff there worked out in our advantage, and I know I talked to Adam Tice too, and they had a lot of positive benefits there, just blocking off South Shore Drive there, not letting any vehicles in there too. So coming up Thursday, I'll be going over to the fire department for their training, giving them a training on vehicle operations, emergency vehicle operations. They've reached out for some training on that, so I'll be presenting to them this Thursday. Also later on this week, we have our final interviews for our open dispatch position. So we put some applications, or took applications for about 2 weeks there, and with those applications, and we're going back to our last round of application we took to our number 2 candidate, and just reached out to him, and he's still interested. So we're gonna have a final interview on Thursday. So hopefully at our next meeting, we'll have a name for you to fill our only vacancy there. And then tomorrow we have one of our patrol cars our spare car getting torn down, go to city administration to be reassigned to another city agency there to be used. And then sometime in the next month or so, we'll probably have an agenda item for you to purchase its replacement. We'll cycle that through too. So we'll be shy a car for probably 4 to 6 weeks, but we'll make do and we can get it transferred out and replace our spare car with the one car that's gonna be taken off the line and back up to full strength here in 4 to 6 weeks, hopefully. So that's all I got for you. Unless you guys have any questions.
Anything unusual or different during 4th of July than in the past?
No, not really. We always have some odd random calls from time to time that I would call unusual for most people, but not for us though. But no, it went off without a hitch. The weather came through on a couple of times, but we had a good 4th of July, good fireworks. Traffic was a little bit thicker south edge of town here on 4th Ave South, headed over to Mesa City just because of the bridge out there. But we reallocated some resources from our normal traffic points anticipating that, and don't think we had any big problems at all.
The mapping that you drew ahead of time was fantastic. You know, I thought it worked very, very well. The color combinations that you had there, you know, was.
We plan in advance and it
Yeah,
works.
yeah. And people, Scott will like this because that's kind of his idea, to redo where Woodford Wheeler came down and make sure we could use it for parking. And it certainly was.
Yeah.
That particular day. I mean, all of that was rolled in and with rock and so on, and it was filled up most of the time.
Yeah, I want to say Wednesday or Thursday, Rod and I went out there. It must have been Wednesday. Went out there and put some tape up and stuff there to get more organization there, so it wasn't just a free for all in the parking lot. And I think that worked out. And it was full pretty much through the entire event in the afternoons. So it was well used.
Great job by the PD, fire department, everyone. We all worked together on that. That's a fantastic 5 days, yeah. Anything else for Chief Counsel? Thank you.
We'll do it again before you know it.
That's right. Director of Finance, Administrative Services Report, Jacob Woodman. Nothing. Public Works Report, Jeremy.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Really, all I wanted to talk about was probably one of the biggest hot topics the past couple of weeks is mosquitoes. So just to kind of update everybody on our operations, and then also talking with some local communities that also do mosquitoes. We're not alone in the issue. Ventura, Forest City, other communities are also having the same issue we are. There's a lot that goes into it. I think last week we sprayed 3 times. Our goal would be to spray tomorrow night. I looked at tonight, but with the possible storms and stuff, we held off just not to get caught in the middle one. So our goal would be to spray Tuesday and Friday this week, weather permitting and conditions permitting. Again, the amount of rain that we've had this year has made it almost sometimes like you feel like you're not even doing anything. Just a couple of facts that go along with mosquito spraying is a single mosquito can lay up to 500 eggs in one brood, and they can do that every like 3 days. So, and it takes them about 48 hours to hatch. So, and they can do that in about an inch of water, standing water. So if you can imagine the amount of rain we've gotten this spring and summer, there's a lot of standing water out there. So what I can do is advise anybody and any homeowner is to do some yard checks. Anything that holds water, bird baths, dog dishes, gutters, pools, anything that holds water that becomes stagnant is just a huge, huge breeding ground. So any of those things, dog dishes, just empty them daily, and it takes about 48 hours for those eggs to hatch. So if you can empty those things every day and refill them, I know you're wasting a little water, but you will also help the mosquito population. So just those little things. And when we spray, our spray will only kill what's flying. So if it's not hatched yet, we can't kill it. We do use larvicide in some areas, so it helps with some of the larger areas of standing water. But all the little ones really add up. So like I said, I've had a lot of conversations with some residents, so if you have questions, feel free to ask. I'll try to inform you on everything we learn every year in our education classes. But talked with Bill Bredlow and Ventura, and they're having the same issues. You know, it's just a uphill battle, and you know, we've had probably 4 years of very dry weather, so everybody kind of forgot what mosquito hatches were like, and it comes hard and it comes fast. So we'll continue to spray. I think we've sprayed more times this year than we did in the past 2 years combined almost. So we're aware of it, or we're doing what we can. So if you have any questions, go ahead.
Thanks to our resident entomologist and expert on the Anopheles mosquito.
Just what we learn every year in our class for half a day. So, but,
I did see a private person having his or her yard, I don't know, and they were spraying it themselves, and he had a big mask over.
yeah, there are things out there you can do as a homeowner and spray yourself. I'm not real familiar with that side of it. I think the products we use you can get kind of as on a residential side, just a little bit smaller base. So
Evidently, there's nothing illegal about it, huh? You just,
if you're doing it just for yourself, you don't need any licensing or anything like that. If you're just
Yeah,
doing it, it's just
yeah.
like a lot of things. So spraying weeds in your yard, stuff
Interesting.
like that.
it's not much was going on the ground, I noticed, but anyway.
So,
Thank you, good report.
thanks.
City Engineer, Matt, again. Thank you, Brad.
Just a couple quick updates here. Update on the City Hall remodel project. Had a discussion with Ryan this morning. He has most of the touch-ups done with as far as paint and different things like that throughout the office areas. He has the railing for the rear steps. He's not going to install that until they get the fob and all the finished electrical done back there. And we're really just waiting on Eddie's and Leland to bring the casework and to finish the glass that's needed in there. As soon as, so it's my understanding that Eddie's has the front entry door, and they also have the ballistic glass that goes in the front lobby area. They're going to ship those here soon, is what Ryan said, and he's going to put the front entry door in, and as soon as that happens, he'll pop out the existing front entry door and put in the window over there so that that gets put up to what the plans show. And as far as casework, I was actually there this morning, so I did witness Leland actually did come and dropped off a few pieces, so they are working on it, so that's the good news. How long the pieces keep coming in, that may not be good news, but so far they're at least starting anyway, so that's at least a sign of progress. So that's kind of where we're at on that one. Surf District Streetscape Project, things keep moving along well. I'm sure a lot of you have seen the sidewalks are almost completed along North Shore. We're well on our way up Buddy Holly right now. We're at 6th Avenue. Dean Snyder Construction is currently putting in, we have 6 walls to do for the bioretention garden areas there. So they're doing 4 walls on 6th Avenue and Buddy Holly, and then they're going to finish the 2 walls that still need to be completed on North Shore and Buddy Holly. As soon as those walls are done, hopefully by the end of the week, we're going to get caster concrete back in there next week, and they're going to pour all the ramps and get all of that completed at 6th Avenue, and then we can hopefully really soon open back up 6th Avenue, and then we'll continue our removal process in between 6th and 7th. We're not going to go all the way through 7th as we progress. We're going to do multiple phases to mitigate as much disturbance to those local businesses as possible in between 6th and 7th. But we're going to work our way probably half of a street at a time up to 7th, and then we're going to take the first permeable crosswalk out that's on the south side of 7th, and we're going to get all of that work completed, and then we're going to take the whole intersection of 7th and shut that down at one time. But then by that time, 6th will be all fully opened up, and they'll have to go around there for just a little bit. But we'll try to get that as quickly as possible so that it's not too much of an inconvenience. But we have traffic control that you have to contend with on any large project like this, so we'll do the best that we can. That's where we're sitting on that one. Update on Emerald Edge subdivision housing project. McKennis Excavating, they're working their way through with underground utilities right now, so they tied into the sanitary sewer that cuts east and west across Sukup's field out there, and they're bringing that up to the site. They're currently going around and doing the infrastructure throughout the site, and pretty soon they're going to be tying in water and getting that run through. So that project is going as well as it could be now that the dry weather's, we have a little bit of that. Things are progressing more quickly than what they thought, so that's good news. But that one's moving forward. And as far as the apartment project, that's going very well, I would say. Those boys like to work out there. They hit it on 4th of July, Saturdays. I'd see them out there on Sundays, so they definitely get after it, so that's good to see. that's coming along really nice. All the garages are framed up, ready shingled, and they got the first story up they got their safety fence built around that first story, so, or the safety railing around it, so that's going really well. Charleston got our water extension tied in out to our water main, so that loop is completed, and they're gonna turn the water back on, I believe, tomorrow. And then Adam and John, they're gonna and Corey, they're gonna get the testing done here this week too. So that'll be good to have that kind of back online as well. But otherwise, yeah, things are rocking and rolling. So if you guys have any questions, feel free.
I'm sure glad that you are there, and every time I come by, you're down there by the surf someplace or other.
Yeah.
And, it's really comforting, at least
This week I get to
most of us, that all of us here, that you're there and watching what's happening, and including the north side and South Shore and.
Yep, I get to venture out a little more this week to some of the others, but the surf districts have me pretty occupied. But right now, it's Dean Snyder's building the walls, so the concrete company's totally out right now. So we get a little bit of a week break here with that. So
Yeah,
but
lots of stuff going on. Appreciate
sure.
that.
yes, sir.
Under Mayor's report, Stace, go ahead.
Mayor, Council, the last time we stood here, it was July 1st, so a big event has happened since then. I have a bunch of thank yous that I just want to share. Of course, Public Works, Fire, PD, Parks, the city support makes all of the events that we do possible. Mike said it went really smooth. I couldn't agree more. I think it was one of the smoothest 4th of Julys that I've had the opportunity to be part of. So I really appreciate all of the support. I know the water created some extra work for the parks crew to figure out after the porta potties got hauled out of there, but I think that Jim and Seth will have those tracks out of there pretty fast because they're just good at what they do. Another group of people I want to thank are the volunteers. We have people who volunteer their time for bingo, parade setup, and then of course our fireworks crew who gives up their 4th of July to make sure that we get to enjoy a spectacular display. Just want to make sure to thank them. Of course, our sponsors who provide all of the free entertainment for the week. And then Evans, this was their 51st year here. Nancy Evans said, Clear Lake never disappoints. And we just got really lucky with the weather. A couple of pop-ups got us wet a couple of times, but for the most part, what was predicted versus what we got, we were really, really fortunate throughout the week. It was a 5-day versus a 7-day celebration, so it did feel like it went really fast this year and still really long at the same time. But on the 4th of July, we had over 21,000 people in City Park throughout the day. That's just City Park, that one block. Throughout the 5 days, there were 53,000 people who came in and through City Park. We heard about lots of records. Our record-breaking day was Friday. It was record-breaking from carnival revenues, attendance, and bingo. But what we love to hear more is that we heard several of our businesses had record-breaking days throughout the 4th of July event. The distillery mentioned they had a record-breaking day, Clear Lake Adventure Rentals, and then I think Cabin Coffee mentioned that they had a record-breaking day too. So, that's why we do the events that we do. Obviously we have a great resident base here who supports our businesses, but to be able to give them that boost in tourism traffic, just makes them sustainable long-term. So it was a great week. Very appreciative of everything that you do. The Lakeview room changes were awesome. Thanks for having Trish involved in the planning of that. I mean, it's just the little things. That full-size refrigerator, we stock that 3-4 times, throughout the week. We didn't have to do that. It saved them some time and a little bit of event efficiency by having that. The bands love the private bathroom. So again, some of those things they're small to you, but they're big to us. So we really appreciate your support. Any questions?
Just a fantastic week, I think that in my day, any time here, that's the most people we've seen in town for a 5-day celebration. And, that takes leadership, period, leadership. And we have it here, and leadership is together, and that's Clear Lake.
Yeah,
That's
and just
Clear Lake.
one final unsung you know, Trish and Jenny, they bust their butts that whole week. They're early mornings and late nights and feeding bands and fireworks crew. And, you know, a lot of people don't know how much time and energy they put into making sure that week goes off without a hitch. And so they're a real big blessing to this town, and very grateful for all that they do to make sure
Yeah,
this stuff
yeah.
happens.
Yeah, I said to Mike, and I've said to the fire department too, you know, we, knock on wood, we just haven't had any that I know of in my time here, disasters during that time. And there are thousands and thousands of people here, and that's because of the organization. Yeah, I'm convinced, and it's great. Thank you,
Yep, thanks.
thank you. I have, Chad is not here. Scott, go ahead.
Nope, I don't have anything.
Anything else, council? Thank you all for attending tonight.